The back seat. Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Huskers are headed to the locker room, and it's time for Big Red Overreaction. The live postgame show with all the info and opinions you can handle. Plus the most important voice of all, yours. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And Jay Stennett Contracting, also sponsored by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition. Get on the line now at 402-951-1620 and sound off on Big Red Overreaction. Live on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Good evening and welcome in to Big Red Overreaction live from the North Bottoms. They said it couldn't be accomplished, and that's us doing this show from the North Bottoms, by the way. Connor Happer, John Bishop with you on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally.
That's one.
There's a
That's
train.
one. We're
And
keeping track all night.
It
One.
is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Always feel free to hit us up, 402-951-1620 on the 42 degrees, on the Jay Stennett Contracting hotline. That's that habit again.
Yeah,
Jay
it
Stennett
happens.
Contracting
Yeah, blow that sucker. Let's go.
hotline, and you could also text us, join us on YouTube or on zonetv.live. Nebraska wins 28-10 against Colorado tonight. They got all 28 of their points in the first half. Colorado got all 10 of theirs in the second half. A balanced attack. Nebraska was a little sloppy in the second half. Maybe tried to sit on some things a little bit, but it always helps when you're sitting on that 28-0 lead at the break. John Bishop, Connor Happer with you live here from the North Bottoms. We're going to take your calls as we start off here in just a moment. It was a heck of a pregame. It was a heck of an atmosphere in there. And then the air got sucked out a little bit, but Nebraska's an 18-point winner.
Listen, Connor, people are going to, obviously, and there's plenty for Matt Rhule to nitpick after this one, but let's not lose sight of the fact that this is what Nebraska needed to do. They needed to come in. They needed to assert themselves. They did that in the first half. They dominated on both sides. They controlled both lines of scrimmage, dominated both lines of scrimmage, knocked Shiloh Sanders out, basically ran Shedeur Sanders out. So for the most part, again, it's a win. It's a win. It's a great win. There were opportunities, certainly, for Colorado to try to get back into this game, and every single time Nebraska's defense when you can't run the football, it is really hard to win in atmospheres like this. And we knew coming in that Colorado was not going to be a great running team. But Nebraska absolutely shut that side of it down. And, offensively, a lot of penalties. Again, we could nitpick a ton of stuff. But given the circumstances, and I'm most impressed by how Nebraska came out and played as level-headed a game as you can in that cauldron of sound, in that emotional situation. I mean, prior to the game, Nebraska's coming onto the field. They're headed to the south end zone to do the team prayer. The refs are having to hold them back because Colorado hasn't come onto the field. And Tommy Hill is basically jawing at every Colorado player as they come out. I mean, there was so much going on in terms of pregame noise and hysteria, but for Nebraska to play level-headed, especially on the offensive side early on, and just the defense pinning their ears back, that was, in my opinion, that was the most impressive thing to me about tonight.
You knew the Buffs were in for a long night right after the first series. Quick 3-and-out. Nebraska goes down and scores a touchdown. Colorado ran it. 22 times for 16 yards on the evening. We're here for you guys. Call us on the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline. And first up tonight, it is Connor. Let's bring Connor up now. Connor, will you once again lead off Big Red Overreaction? Welcome, my friend.
I wanted to say, first and foremost, Dylan Raiola once again delivers. I mean, how can we continue to disregard Patty Mahomes Jr.? Straight up. I mean, he is goated. But second, I mean, defense, they really came up tonight. Tommy Hill, I mean, pick six, that's all you need. All you need to etch your name into the history books with the black shirts. That's really pretty much all I have to say. Tommy Hill, goated. Dylan Raiola, paving his way. I'm excited to hear what you all think.
Thank you,
So,
Connor.
question
Appreciate
mark?
the call.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. He leads off Big Red Over. He says Tommy Hill is goated. You know what that means, John? You're old.
It means he's he got 4 legs
Yes,
now.
he
and
turned into
little
a goat.
Turned into a goat.
Somebody
Yeah.
came around and literally turned him into
Listen,
a goat.
he played great tonight. Ty Robinson absolutely owned his side tonight. John Bullock played tremendous tonight. And it was a good night to do that because there were 7 different NFL scouts that were in the building sitting up behind us in the press box. And certainly a lot of them there because, it's Shedeur. And maybe get a look at Dylan as well. But listen, Tommy Hill certainly acquitted himself, I thought, very well tonight in a lot of different areas. Travis Hunter is going to get his, but Tommy Hill has really grown into that role, and the way he was able to jump that route and how Nebraska switched off on that, taking one receiver out of the play, and then he is able to come back in, made a tremendous catch. And sure, there was pressure on the play, but the defense tonight really, 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 really played well.
We're going to continue taking your calls for now. Joey, back in studio, tell us in our ear when Matt Rhule takes the stage for the press conference, and then we'll cut off and we'll head there. But for now, we go back to the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline. Here is George. George, you're on Big Red Overreaction. George, you with us?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, George, welcome.
Guys, let me tell you, I've been a fan since 2008. I have watched, and I was born in 01. I have watched this team suffer and lose in the most miserable, agonizing ways, and I've heard about the glory days. I went to the Colorado games in 2018 and 2019, heartbroken. All of Husker Nation's hearts were broken. Tonight, I know that the second half wasn't fantastic. I know that we wish we would have scored more points. But, guys, we won. It doesn't feel real. I want to cry. I want to jump around for joy. I live in Georgia, so people down here probably don't know why I'd be doing that. But, it's a fantastic feeling. And no matter what happens for the rest of the year, at least we beat Colorado one final time.
Okay,
we can hold
George.
our hats on that. And so thank you.
Appreciate the call. Thanks. That's George here on Big Red Overreaction. Like we talked about it all week, John. It's that Nebraska's had a few games like this, maybe nothing as intense as this, as big as this one felt tonight.
Right.
But they finally got rewarded on something that, they kind of put their hearts out there for, right? And maybe did some trash talking and put that on the line as well. And finally got rewarded for it tonight with an incredible, right out of the gate got rewarded for it.
Most certainly did. We talked about it in our pregame show today from Blur Events that, who wants the ball first? And we knew Colorado would like to have the ball first because they want to put their strength on the field. Well, that means Nebraska got to put its strength on the field. And for the defense to come out right away and land, I think the number was 4 sacks in the first 17 plays.
Jeez.
Just an absolute domination up front. No one, and that's what you have to do to Shedeur Sanders. But the difference between what Nebraska did tonight and what we saw North Dakota State do 10 days ago, they got pressure too, but first of all, it wasn't coming up the middle as intense as it was tonight from T-Rob and from Huntmaker, but they were getting home and they were finishing. That is so important in these types of moments because Shedeur is so good on the run. But even Shedeur, I mean, I thought the play calling on those first couple of plays by Colorado were a little confusing because they're having him throw the ball almost 40 yards across the field.
And then they got burned on the pick six.
So you could tell that Colorado was nervous. They were worried that Nebraska was going to get pressure. They did get pressure right away. They ended up having to go to a short passing game. I'd be really interested to see, what the spray chart's going to be for Shedeur tonight, because he did not have many downfield throws, especially in the first half. Anything they were completing had to be short. They just had to try to find ways because they knew they weren't going to have time. There were a couple of circumstances in the first half and in the second half where he did have time, and that's, of course, where he's going to burn you. But the problem was consistently all night long, they did not give him time. Nebraska, just like last year, dominated the line of scrimmage.
Great news. I seem to have lost connection on my hotspot on my phone, so I don't have any access to see who's on the phone with us or any of the stream capabilities as well. Joey, thank you. Jake is next on the Jay Senate Contracting Hotline. Jake, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, guys. Hey, what a great win, right? Hey, we're back. I think we're actually back. But anyways, before that, so today I was listening on the radio before the game. Damon Benning talking. He said Bayer was going to be the guy tonight on defense, right? I was thinking the same exact thing. Bayer is our guy, right? So I was like, dang, I know as much as Damon Benning. So I'll think back. What's Damon Benning's track record, right? The guy's 0-27 as a coach. I felt terrible. The guy is 0-27. What a joke of a guy. That guy couldn't.
Come on, Jake.
What are we doing?
Come on, Jake.
Hey, what a game, right? Hey, we're back, though. Either way, as long as Damon Benning ain't the coach, we're back. Let's go.
Okay,
Come
great.
on,
That's
Jake.
awesome. Super.
Come on, Jake.
That was definitely a call. The only
we love
problem
Damon,
is,
by the way.
Yes, we do love Damon.
Guy.
He is our friend. The only problem, I guess, the one downfall on the defensive side is Mekhi Bayer is going to be out for the first half next week against Northern Iowa because of the targeting penalty late. But, Bayer came in, tackle for loss, pass breakup, had 6 tackles tonight. But, I mean, and I haven't done – I'll do this during Matt Rhule's press conference, but the havoc rate of tackles for loss, pass breakups, forced fumbles, interceptions is going to be really, really high tonight, because Nebraska had 10 tackles for loss. 6 of those were sacks, the 1 interception, 4 pass breakups. Honestly, it should be more than that, but they only gave Bullock credit for 1. I thought he touched 2 on that one drive where it ended up in a field goal. They gave him credit for 1, but he also got a quarterback hurry. But, 10 quarterback hurries. So you go 6 sacks and 10 quarterback hurries. There's your game right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. That's your game.
Nebraska did. We talked about it in the keys right before. They were suffocating on the defensive side, and I think it kind of broke Colorado in the first half. And they give them credit. They fought back. But let's head out to the press conference now and hear from Matt Rhule after the game.
Again, the crowd noise was fantastic. The energy was fantastic. I think our players fed off that. And I think it's in this modern era of communication, all that, it's really hard to play in an atmosphere like that. So, thank you to the student section; they were there early. Thank you to our fans. It was really a special night.
After last year's loss in Boulder and coming back this year and just making a statement like with this win, what does that mean for the rest of the season then?
I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's a referendum. I think last year had to happen so that this year could happen. I think that's a lesson I take with me all the time. Sometimes bad things have to happen to you so that the old you can die and a new one can be born. So a lot of guys that, chose to come back and play with us this year, go through the struggle. They came back. A lot of young guys didn't have a chance to really play. We won the turnover battle for the second week in a row. I don't know that we turned the ball over. We had a block punt, which obviously isn't good enough, but so we have to keep getting better, right? But this was a big moment, so it was really big for us to show up and not back down from their stars, because we're a little different. Our team is our star, right? And while I know Dylan's getting a lot of publicity and we have a lot of guys who could be stars, our defense is a star. So everyone kept talking about this guy, that guy, that guy. And I kept saying, hey, they're forgetting our defense. They're forgetting the black shirts. And had we not had that block punt, lean to that field position and then that tough targeting call, they wouldn't have scored today. And so even at the end, we chose to take a knee. So it was just kind of an overall win. But, hey, we got to play again next week. We got a lot to do.
I know that you brought some pressure in the second half on Shedeur, but a lot of what you guys were able to do, you did with 3- and 4-man pressures. How proud were you of your defensive front tonight and their relentlessness and passion?
Yeah, and even the pressures we brought, sometimes we're bringing we're dropping a guy and bringing one. So still really like a 4-man rush. I mean, we had a couple, he brought all out pressures in, he brought one like the 4th and 1, but for the most part, we just played coverage. We trusted our big guys, and really the times they made plays were they got outside of us, So if we were coaching the guys hard tonight, coaching them the whole way through the game. I mean, we have to learn how to play with a lead. That game really wasn't much of a contest in the second half, and so you're sitting there hey, we just not turn the ball over. We have to find that middle place of aggression, and so we're still working through a lot of that, right? But I thought the defensive line came to play. I mean, they had a really good week of practice, but as importantly, there was no one running free. They didn't have any free runners. They hit one seam ball. They were going empty, but I thought a lot of guys, and even Willis got in at the end, gets a sack fumble. So big day for him.
How important do you think it was to your guys to set the tone physically from the start?
Yeah, we have 3 goals: win the turnover battle, be the most physical team on the field, and have a culture of execution. There was a ton of penalties, just a ton of penalties. And we have the iPads now. I mean, I looked at a lot of them. I mean, we'll wait and see. I mean, I was disappointed. We didn't get many calls going our way. It's a Big 12 crew, so I can't get fined by them, I don't think. So I'll say that. So there's a lot of things to fix, but I thought we were really physical, and I thought even that first run, again, I hate that Shiloh got hurt, but, I thought Dowdell set the tone with his physicality, running the football. And but we are a physical team. We might have some areas that we have to improve on, but we are a physical team.
What can you say about just Ty Robinson and if he blocked a field goal, kind of sack on the first series, just his impact?
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I want to say I told you so. Like last year, I kept saying how good he was, and everybody kept saying, "Well, his stats." I'm like, I'm just telling you. And so, he's a dominant player. Every scout that comes in, I'm like, I'm just telling you guys, he's a dominant football player that can play 4 positions, and he plays hard. He about broke my neck walking down the thing because he was so happy that we won. He grabbed me, and because he's one of the guys who came back. I love him. I'm proud of him. So, that's why I'm not doing a big referendum on it. To me, this was like my guys. I said something on Tuesday press conference that no one really picked up on. I said, hey, I think Sam asked me about Shedeur saying what he said about me, and I really didn't care. I had a great visit with some of those guys before the game. But I said, hey, you know what? He's defending his father. My son would too. And I said, I think I got some guys in there I think will too. And I love Ty. I love Jamari. I love those guys. This has been one of the best experiences of my life coaching these guys. So I'm happy they had a chance to get a win. And they're going to come in on Monday, and they're going to think it's the worst game they ever played. And by the time we're done, and we'll get ready for next week.
What did Dante and Ramir show you that allowed them to get the bulk of the carries that they did tonight?
Yeah, I thought we had some flash plays early, and so I just kind of stayed with them. Even Ramir has a long run at the end, but this is a game. This was a game that we just kind of went with. Even across the board, we didn't do a ton of rotating. We just kind of played the guys that on defense. We played most of the older guys, and just a unique game. Got up early, but there's no referendum on those other two. Gabe and Emmett will play a ton of football as we move forward. But I thought early on, Dante set the tone, and Ramir did some good things, so we kind of just stuck with them.
How did you feel like Dylan played? And then in the second half, were you guys trying to make sure that he didn't put it in harm's way with some of the plays?
Yeah, it wasn't really about him. It was just, honestly, at the heart. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of games like that in the Big Ten where you're like, hey, they can't score. So if they can't score, what do you do, right? So again, I was pushing us on offense to be aggressive. Again, you take away some of those penalties, and we are pretty aggressive, right? And we had some mistakes, right? We call a counter, the guard doesn't pull, or something that happens wrong, and we get hit for a loss. And we have to get a lot better in the field goal game. Like I should be able to kick those field goals, and so we have a lot of work to do. The snaps still aren't. We have some things to work on, and that's not calling anybody out. That's just coming out of game, like game flow. Hey, let's just add 3 points here. Let's add 3 points there. But a lot of those penalties really hurt us. That'd have been a 300-400 yard rushing game if that long run and all that, because I think we finished with 185. So, I forgot. I'm sorry, Sam. I forgot what you said. I'm pretty excited right now.
And I was trying to, make sure he didn't throw an interception.
No. I mean, we they were bringing a ton of heat. We were having a hard time picking up. They were bringing everybody, right? And we got some DPIs. We took a couple shots. We were just, think back to the one goes off Thomas's hands, one goes off Jalen's hands. We hit Jalen on the one, so we let him let it rip. But hit the seam ball, backed up. We're backed up at 2nd and 20. We throw a seam ball to Borkacher. So I didn't think we just overall just kept trying to find, because we got up to 75 yards rushing right off the bat. And then they just changed everything. When Shiloh went out, they started playing some cover 2. They started bringing some different pressures, and defense scored, and just felt like we got a little discombobulated maybe. But I'm going to put the ball in Dylan's hands. I trust him.
Your guys have even started to talk about complementary football, and you had the moment last week after the safety, after Buschini's punt down to the 2 with the pick 6. How much of that is the kind of stuff that you've been preaching to them for a year and a half, and how big of a moment for momentum do you think that was in the game?
That was a huge moment. I was really happy for Brian. And, a couple of times I said to the guys on the field, even like when we start talking to the other team, I said, hey, guys, we've been trained. Like, we know, we botched the 2-minute warning. Like, we could have milked the clock down to 1 second and gotten the ball to the 2-minute warning. So we gave the ball back to them, which is was not good enough. Now, luckily we got the ball back, and then we went down and scored. It's 2 weeks in a row now. Dylan and the offense have gone down in 2-minute right before the half and put the ball in the end zone. But I think the complementary football is there, and our guys are understanding it, and I think the coaches are doing a good job preaching it.
Hey, Coach, this is a team that you played tonight that brought in an entire new offensive line, and your front 7 seemed to not have much of an issue with that. Is that more the players executing, or is that something you saw on film?
I think we have good players. I just think we have really good players. I haven't seen the tape yet, so it's hard for me to say what happened. But we have really good players. They execute a really difficult scheme that requires a lot of thought and a lot of teaching. And we think we have 5 or 6 or 7 starters on the front D line. I think MJ and Prince Will are interchangeable. We put Willis in at the end. He gets a sack fumble. We got really good players. It's a credit to the guys.
How happy were you for Tommy to have that moment? How hard he's worked the last year, the pick 6.
Yeah. Everyone kept talking about the other team's corners. I kept saying, like, Tommy's a first rounder. And, he went to the other side. And Travis is a great player. I'm not saying anything about Travis. I'm saying, but Tommy's a good player too. And that's why I kept telling our guys at halftime, we have to – I didn't want to make this game about the other team because I think we have good players. I want to make it about us. I think we have good players, and Tommy's an excellent player. And he broke, and he didn't jump something. He played his technique. He broke. He saw it. He went and got the ball. He intercepted it. And then he went out and played the next drive. So I think Tommy's one of the best players in the country.
You talked about playing with a lead. Now that you've got some momentum, how do you coach these guys to prepare and play game after game with that kind of momentum and belief that the fan base has?
Yeah, our preparation will not be our issue. Our guys worked their butts off. We practiced really hard, and our guys worked their butts off. I think just again, learning how to finish. We still haven't solved the close game thing because we haven't been in that. I think probably a lot of people thought this would be a close game. I'll be honest with you. We expected this score. We expected this to be like this. We have a good team, and we felt like we were going to play really well tonight. So we're going to go right back to work and treat this like a game that we lost. That's what we did last week. Like I told you guys, correct the correctables. And that's a really good football team. They'll make a ton of noise in the Big 12, guarding number 5 and guarding number 12 and guarding number 2. Those are as good a players as you'll play against. And on the defensive side, there's active and violent defenses we'll see. So we're just going to work. And I think the biggest thing is we have great competition. A lot of guys want to play. Ja'Cory keeps making plays. Now we got Jalen involved again this game. Thomas made a big catch down the middle. So we just have a lot more I think we have to get done.
Coach, with the defense playing as well as it has, and then you have Dylan off-platform throw across the field down to the 2 on national TV. Just how excited are you as a coach, and how excited should your fan base be right now?
Okay. And that was just for the play by Dylan was great. But that's a roll throwback. That was a great call, great play design. They said they had it, and it was cover 2. Jalen did a great job. The ability by Jalen to come back and get that ball was fantastic, and Dylan trusting him. But I think the biggest thing about Dylan is, we didn't turn the ball over. We're protecting the ball, still being aggressive, and we've had a good defense. The defense just needed some help. We have a lot of work to do on special teams, right? We got a punt block to miss a field goal, kick. We got to give up a 70-yard kickoff return. So there's a lot of those things. In terms of the fan base, what I would say is, let's just take it one game at a time. Let's just where our players will get in trouble and everyone will get in trouble is we'll start zipping ahead to like 4 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now. We have not earned that right. We have not earned the right to start looking ahead. All we're going to do is we're going to, even when we lost to Colorado, I remember with Trev, I said, just give it a year, Trev. I said, we'll play these guys next year and it'll be different. But that was just day by day by day work. And so we're going to come in this week and we're going to prepare like crazy for Northern Iowa. And I hope our fans, come out, and next week sounds just like this week, because it's really hard. I mean, I want the fans to know, I don't know how well we would play in that atmosphere if we were the visitor. It is so hard. And so if they can just do that every week, I'm telling you, it's an advantage. I don't know if I answered your question, but I think people should be pretty excited. I'm going to tell you something. Don't mistake my stoic look. I'm fired up, okay? I'm fired up, but I'm fired up for the guys, because those were my guys. And, and then Bud Crawford, he came in, talked to the team last night and let us out tonight, gave him a game ball. And, we wanted our guys to know that, we have celebrities here in Nebraska, too, that care about us. Anybody else? All right, thank you, guys.
That is Matt Rhule after Nebraska's 28-10 win against Colorado. A lot of highlights from that. He is indeed fired up. We'll continue to take your calls here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Always feel free to give us a call. Send us a text on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline, 402-951-1620. Speaking of, Carson, Vince, Brian, Mike, you're coming up in the next segment here on Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100. and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally, member FDIC.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stinnett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stinnett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Hurley, and the Hurley family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils, more than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
The Big Red Overreaction Postgame Show. Live. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Connor Happer, John Bishop back with you here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction live from the North Bottoms, just south of the train tracks. Our train track count is 2, by the way. Matt Rhule, early in his press conference, quote, "This is a big moment. It was really big for us to show up and not back down from their stars because we're a little different. Our team is our star."
But he also made sure to alert folks that, hey, we've got celebrities too, and mentioned Bud Crawford, who, by the way, and I don't know if they showed this on television, but Bud Crawford led the team out of the tunnel holding the new WWE Husker licensed championship belt over his shoulder, and then didn't just lead the guys out the tunnel, but then he ran at the head of the line and led everybody out through the long line, which was made up also of the 94 championship team, and then ran all the way to the south end zone. So Bud was definitely lit up tonight, wearing number 140 on his uniform, of course, his weight.
He dapped up Deion Sanders, though, before the game.
He did.
Excommunicated.
He
Sorry,
did.
Bud.
Oh, that's fine. We'll make it. We'll make do.
All right. Big Red Overreaction. It's also presented by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Back to the phones on the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. Here is Carson. Carson, how we doing tonight? Carson quit, just like Shedeur Sanders in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Whoops. Did I say that? He left early, John. What happened? Where'd he go?
Well, it was a late game, and then Mekhi Bear kind of dinged him up a little bit. That's 2 Sanders taken out of the same game.
Interesting.
Shiloh going down early on that collision with Dante Dowdell, and as we found out at halftime, a broken arm.
Yeah,
and he's going to be out.
Mr. Dowdell was looking for that contact too.
Yes, he was.
He was all about it.
He was hunting.
Let's head to wine country where it's Vince and Napa. Vince, what's going on?
Hey, good evening, fellas. How are you?
Very good.
Vince, bring it.
Well, as I've talked to you guys before on Twitter, it's been a tough couple of years for me. Both of my parents have passed, but let me tell you, tonight was cathartic. Tonight was a nice little distraction in that healing process.
Awesome.
And as I watch tonight's game unfold, John, you'll probably understand this reference a lot more than Connor would because of our age comparison.
Hashtag
but, yeah, well, I'm outing myself as old too, though, John. Not just you.
I know.
Right. But as I watched this game play out, it kind of reminded me a lot of the 2001 Notre Dame game where we got up early and just kind of, rode the crest and, crossed the finish line and all that sort of thing. But what really stood out about this game is this. Defensively, I came into this game thinking, okay, Colorado and their passing game was going to get theirs. We just had to keep them from being superhuman. They got theirs a couple of times, but they really never even came close to getting off. And a big reason for that is because early on, Nebraska's front was winning one-on-one battles between Ty Robinson and Java the Hot Mocker, or whatever we want to call him.
Nice.
Dear Lord, they were beating their guys one-on-one, and they were getting clear shots at Shedeur Sanders, but offensively, what I liked was that in the first half, I thought they really varied up the tempo. There were times where we went semi-quick. There were times where we huddled. The only downside is that, penalties really bogged us down. Some of them were BS calls, if I'm really being honest, and some of them were legit. But it gives Coach Rhule enough to get their attention. The only disappointment about tonight, I thought special teams was a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. That's going to have to get addressed. And all in all, though, we did a lot of great things, but just enough to get their attention. And let me get one thing established about Deion. Let me get one thing established. As a coach, the guy is a poser. The guy thinks he's a coach. He's not a coach. He's just a big name that some school had to hire. Okay, I tolerated Deion for 1 year of my life, 1994, and that was about it. And John, I think you know why. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He's gone from being Mr. Jerry Curl, wear my necklaces and all this crap, to looking like Papa Smurf. Get the hell out of here, Deion. You're a fraud. That's all I need to tell you. But you know what? We're 2-0. For the first time since 2016, we've got momentum. And when that mighty Northern Iowa team comes in, here's what I want. I want this to be an empty the bench game. I want this to be an empty the bench game. And go out there and show them this is what we are. We're Huskers. We win. We kick ass. And we fight with bloody knuckles. Let's go.
There he is.
I knew it. It was,
Yeah.
it was
it's always at the end.
It was a slow burn.
There's a cadence.
It was a slow burn. Yeah, Vince, longtime friend. I've known Vince for a long time, and I know he's gone through some hard times losing both his parents out there in California. But he's passionate, and we love it. And I'm glad this was cathartic tonight. But just looking at some of the numbers, I mean, this was one of Shedur's least accomplished games of the year. I mean, it's 60% completion percentage. The yards per attempt was just 6.4. But the other thing was that interception was only the 5th interception he had thrown in 469 attempts.
Yeah. And so I was going to go, and Vince kind of reminded me of this. We'll have to watch and sort of see, and we'll get the numbers on all this stuff tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But the number that had kind of floated around in my head all week about Nebraska from week 1 is that they didn't blitz any. They definitely blitzed tonight.
Yes.
And it felt like kind of a lot. That feels like a lot of trust in your defensive backfield to be able to cover those guys because they are dudes. I mean, Hunter and Horn and 10, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Wester.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are good football players, and they could beat people too. And so Nebraska trusted their defensive secondary tonight, and I was curious as how they were going to approach that. They were getting after Shedeur, and they were making him his eternal clock got going on him really quick, really early.
Yes, it did. You could tell he was rattled a lot, and you give him credit, for hanging in there as long as he did. I know, he left the game late, but it was garbage time. There's no need. Colorado's they got to save him. But what they really need to do is get that offensive line back together again. Now, I don't know how many other teams are going to be able to put the kind of pressure on with the kind of depth that Nebraska has, but it wasn't just the blitzing tonight, of which there was some, but it was coming from different angles. It was showing 6 and then dropping, maybe bringing 4. They were running some twists tonight. I mean, certainly the plan tonight from Tony White was a little more exotic because you have to be. When you've got a guy who's got those kind of instincts.
It's a unique matchup.
It's a very unique matchup, but it was easily won by Nebraska, and that's the key. That's the key to slowing down a guy like this and an offense like this.
Back to the Jay Sennett Contracting Hotline, and let's have a chat with Brian. Brian, you're on Big Red Overreaction, and it doesn't sound like you are.
The Brian man of the group.
All right.
Is gone.
We're on to the next one. Let's go to Mike. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Very good, Mike.
Good. I can't be as, as enthusiastic as the last guy, so sorry about that.
Nope, you do you.
Little more stoic than that. Hey, before the game, somebody said 28-10. We'd be just on fire, ecstatic, and we think we should still be. Second half, obviously, a little disappointing. But Colt McCoy and that guy and whoever else, the announcing was horrible. The refereeing was horrible. Both sides. I mean, there were some bad calls on both sides. I mean, that wasn't roughing the passer on Dylan. They're just horrible. But they're just terrible. I don't know. But some things need to be fixed. Like, I'm not freaking like other people have said. Our special teams is horrible. I mean, it's still we don't even got a guy that can kick it to the end zone. It's an NIL, man. Get somebody that can kick the ball from the end zone at least. We missed those. That part needs to be addressed. I think I would say that coach needs to be on the hot seat. I don't know that we haven't shown any improvement there. But our secondary, I'm excited about our secondary. I mean, we knew the defensive line was going to be great. We knew that, and then but the secondary. Hey, those are some big dogs out there on their skill positions now. Our offensive line sucks, but there's some big-time skill players out there, and we did extremely well. And then Satterfield, I don't know. He's still Satterfield in the second half. I don't know about some of that play calling.
Yep, thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, look, and Sam asked the question in the postgame, and I think it's the same thing that everybody else noticed. It felt like Nebraska was just trying to sit on it a little bit too much, got too conservative. But man, I got to tell you, that's the math for Nebraska. If they give it back to them, they have the opportunity to possess the ball and score.
Right.
Like Nebraska would rather punt, take the field position. Now you got to punt it. And not get the punt blocked. And then when you get opportunities, you got to make field goals, and you can't have a nice long kick return taken back on you, to the point about special teams. But I mean, I don't have that much of an issue with how they approached the second half. It could have got tighter, but man, I just think that was part of the equation for Nebraska tonight.
Well, they wanted to run the ball, obviously. They wanted to work a little bit of clock. They actually ran the ball worse tonight than they did in last year's game, just 149 yards and only 4.3 yards a carry. And really a lot of the chunk plays happened in the first half. You give credit to Colorado. I think they have improved up front. They did slow down North Dakota State in the second half last week, which is why they were able to win that game. So they did get better up front. It wasn't a great night for Bryce Benhart. He had some moments tonight where he got beat. And then, of course, all of the penalties. And I know a lot of the folks, I've been looking online and not happy with the Big 12 officiating crew. Matt Rhule even said he wasn't a big fan of it. But there was some, I mean, yes, there was some questionable stuff out there, but it was not a very clean played football game.
No.
And, you know, the block in the back, I'm trying to remember was it Scott who had the block in the back when the play was already beyond him?
Mazuka, I think.
Or was it Mazuka? Okay.
Yeah.
Play was already beyond him. So, yeah, there's a lot of things on film. You heard Matt Rhule say, guys are going to think we didn't play very well after I get done breaking down the film with them, but he's still very happy about it. But that's the good thing. Nebraska in years past might have blown games like this. But what was the most important thing that we both said at the end of our pregame show? Don't turn the ball over. 0 turnovers. Again, Nebraska wins the turnover battle. Easy peasy.
Yeah, that's the math for them. 28-10 is your final. We're here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Dingman's Collision Center, Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Connor Happer, John Bishop with you live from the North Bottoms here in Lincoln as traffic begins to...
Where'd our trains go? We've only had 2.
John's a train spotter because he's old and loves trains.
I just want to experience trains again. That's all.
Well,
I like the ambiance. We had the ambiance of the horns blowing and the Herbies dueling and the fans drinking and by the way, I got a report from South Stadium tonight from my sister. That smell that we smelled at the pregame with those Colorado fans
Dirty
in front
hippies,
of us,
yeah.
She got the same smell where she was sitting tonight too. Yeah,
Interesting.
it was weird.
You don't usually smell that when Nebraska plays some other opponents, you know?
You know what, though? I guess that some of that smell may have been coming from Nebraska fans, too. Remember, kids, it's on the
I don't
ballot.
think so. I'm pinning it on that. Doug, Mike, Joel, Scott, hang on. You're going to come up in the next segment. It's Big Red Overreaction live on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
Sunday morning is all about church, bacon, and the Sunday paper. Right next to church and bacon, Sunday's made for hot takes and reactions on Severe Reaction. Join me, Michael Severe's Sunday on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction from 8 to 10 after every game. What went right, what went wrong, and an honest take on what happened on game day. We'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sunday mornings from 8 to 10, powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and by Nebraska Medicine, together, extraordinary, on 1620 The Zone.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgaard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100, and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Big Red Overreaction now on two big stations. KOOO, La Vista, Omaha, Council Bluffs. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sound off on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K. More info and opinions on Big Red than one station can handle. Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Welcome back. Connor Happer, John Bishop here on Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and presented by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Let's get a quick look at the scoreboard before we get back to the phones.
Weird day.
We did have a weird day.
We left the tailgate. Iowa had the ball. There was less than 2 minutes left, and I thought the game was over.
We'll look at the scoreboard presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Yeah, that was John. I showed John the score as we hopped into the elevator to go upstairs, and it said that Iowa State had won, and we weren't exactly sure how it happened. Iowa State beats Iowa today, 20-19. Nick gets a sad "Go Hawks" from in the dark over there.
Oh,
very sad. Notre Dame goes down at home today to Northern Illinois. Who could ever lose to Northern Illinois?
Especially in September.
16-14. Thomas Hammock gets the job done, and Marcus Freeman got booed off the field in his home stadium. Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State in double overtime in Stillwater. Both teams missed field goals in single overtime. Oklahoma State gets the touchdown in the 2 to win 39-31. Illinois beats Kansas tonight at home in the Big Ten. Illinois beats number 19 Kansas 23-17.
Listen. Illinois and Indiana.
Are you getting scared?
Well, I already thought the Indiana game was going to be a little tricky because that being the first road game, right? That is the first road game. Or is that Purdue? I always get those two games mixed up.
Purdue.
Either way, I thought Indiana could be tough. Illinois is not going to be easy here in a couple of weeks. They put up some good numbers here in the last 2 weeks, and that's a good Kansas team.
Syracuse beats Georgia Tech today in one-time supposed Nebraska quarterback Kyle McCord beats a top 25 Georgia Tech team 31-28 in the Dome. Kansas State sneaks away from Tulane 34-27.
That was not offensive pass interference.
Oklahoma beats Houston 16-12.
Ew.
Penn State beats Bowling Green 34-27. And Alabama got 28 in the fourth quarter to pull away from South Florida 42-16. Not much else notable. There is a game that just started about an hour ago. USC and Utah State.
Boise's up 20-14 at halftime against Oregon.
Okay, now watch out for that one as well. We'll keep an eye on all that as we go on throughout the show. That's our scoreboard update presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Let's go back to the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. That's where we find Doug. Hey, Doug, what's going on?
Hey, I was totally pleased with the results of the game. However, there's one area that I would like to see them work on. If you have a big lead on a team like Colorado that can score quickly, I don't think snapping the ball with 10 to 12 seconds left on the clock is a smart move. I would like to see him, coach him down to snapping it with 5 seconds left, unless he sees there's a play that's, gonna, hit. But, why give the extra time to the team that could be totally explosive? That's just my feel.
Doug,
and I'll listen to you guys.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I think you can be conservative and then you could be too conservative.
Yeah.
You don't want to be sitting up there as the thing goes away and you're like, oh, wow, they're really trying to milk it out. It's just like,
you still want to play the way you played in the first half.
Exactly.
The problem was they didn't get a lot of positive plays on first down. Also, you trusted your defense.
Totally. And there's got to be a pace and a rhythm to it, too.
Absolutely, yeah. That kind of strategy, I mean, it certainly is good for, you get to the late third quarter and into the fourth quarter, then that's fine. But you're talking the first couple of possessions of the second half. No, you want to reestablish the rhythm that you had in the first half.
Back to the J. Sinek Contracting Hotline. Here is Mike S. Hi, Mike S.
Hello. I just want to say, what are we talking about? We snapped the ball 4 seconds before. We won by 18. Everyone needs to chill out. Everyone on here is complaining about everything. We won by 18. Oh, geez, good God, we had a penalty here, penalty there. Just everyone chill out. Have fun with the win. And stop worrying about the 4 seconds that didn't matter in the game. By the way, John, Baylor Shireman said, "Go Big Red." You got,
yeah, he did.
Jesus.
He did. Hey, you know what?
He's a Nebraskan.
Guess who else? I saw Isaac Trout at the game tonight.
I did too.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are native Nebraskans, and people forget Baylor Shireman could have been a walk-on quarterback at Nebraska. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So could I.
He's a Husker football fan.
Pounds, baby.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. Baylor brought his Celtics teammate Derek White.
That's right.
Team USA legend Derek White to the house tonight. I'm sure producer Joey is extremely excited about this.
You know it.
Back in there he is. Back in studio. Comp Eliminator Matt writes in on Twitter, "We just beat Colorado by 3 scores. Screw the negative Nellies. Let's rock this thing. Come on, people. Yeah, let's go. Let's get the energy up. Who's coming up next? It's Joel on the J. Sinek Contracting Hotline. Hey, Joel, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
How are you guys doing?
Very good, Joel.
Hey, I guess the last couple callers have kind of covered what I was going to talk about, so I've been sitting here kind of scrambling. But
You were going to talk about the 3 seconds on the play clock?
No. I was going to initially talk about how we got vanilla in the second half, but then I wanted to, talk about how maybe the magic word is chameleon.
As in karma chameleon?
No. Oh, I don't know. I've not been schooled very well, but chameleon is in whatever we need to be. Could we be the team that is whatever we need to be in the second half? We're chameleon. We are that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it just looked like whenever we needed to be something, we were that.
it's part of the thanks for the call, Joel. It's part of the positive when you have a quarterback the way Nebraska does right now. I don't know that I loved everything they did in the conventional run game tonight.
No.
I think it took a while to get that thing off the ground, and I don't know that they really ran it the way they thought they were going to run it tonight.
No, I honestly thought they were going to run it better than they did. And again, I give credit to Colorado. They did a much better job tonight. There's still things to work on, and this is another one of those areas where you're not sure, okay, which back. Personally, I think we're getting close to the point where this is a Dante Dowdell production, where he needs to be the number one guy. But the interesting thing was Emmett Johnson, who was the leading rusher last week, I don't think he got his first carry until the second half.
And he popped a nice one, too.
He did. So, yeah, I hope they get this running back thing settled here relatively soon. But, yeah, there's definitely things to work on that
Maybe
side.
that wasn't Emmett who got that. That one was Dowdell. So Emmett Johnson finished with 1 carry for 3 yards. Gabe Irvin, just the scrap-up stuff at the end, 2 carries for 6. And, all the conventional running back carries while this game was in the balance, which there were 26 of them, went to Dowdell and Johnson.
The other thing, too, and our friend Michael Severe Reaction tomorrow morning at 8 just texted me and said they had nearly 100 yards lost in yardage because of penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Barney with a couple of big plays, 50. So the offensive numbers could have looked a lot better had it not been for those penalties.
I think so, too. Raiola, 23 for 30, 185, and a touchdown. That's a 77% completion rate. And we do have to be honest here real quick. He threw a pick that was a touchdown for Nebraska. That was an interception. and then it ended up being a touchdown for Nebraska, and things were just going really well.
And quite honestly, if that defender gets it clean, he might have scored.
He had a seam.
I mean, I don't know who, I think Dylan might have had the only angle on him if he's able to come up with it. But you know what? How many times have we seen those goofy bounces go against Nebraska? I mean, it was almost like that moment was karma turning around and saying, here you go, Nebraska.
It's so
You're
funny
welcome.
when I made this point last week. It seems to me that when you do the fundamental things right, and when you play clean football, weird stuff doesn't happen to you as much.
Right.
Weird stuff happens to the teams that are coached by Scott Frost because they couldn't do any of the details right.
Right.
And people will be like, "Oh, why are we cursed? Why are we cursed?" No, you don't deserve the good things to happen to you. And it's not about who deserves what. Sometimes the bounces go where the bounces go. But, man, it just feels like Nebraska has a fundamental base to stand on right now, and all of a sudden a couple bounces go their way. You know, how about one on an instant replay where I thought the Colorado receiver just had his toe on the ground on that long third down completion by Shador. Great catch. Didn't get overturned.
Right. If that's called complete on the field, I don't think it gets overturned to an incompletion. It was that close.
I think so too. And it just would have stood either way. So these are the type of margins that Nebraska is going to live in sometimes. And they do seem to be getting the breaks right now. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Big Red Overreaction. It is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. John wants a train. Scott, Phil, Z-Man, and CC, please stay on the line. We'll be back with you after John is done yelling at the air on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Hurley, and the Hurley family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils. More than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Big Red Overreaction is live, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Sound off now, 402-951-1620. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And No Name Nutrition on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Connor Happer, John Bishop back with you here on Big Red Overreaction, live from the North Bottoms in Lincoln. We will likely go into Sunday morning, as will Severe Reaction, starting at 8 o'clock.
It'll actually start Sunday morning.
I assume Michael will have watched the game 2 to 3 times by the time he hits the air tomorrow. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems, that's the scoreboard updates. It's presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and Dingman's Collision Center Mechanical Repair, and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Back to the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline. Here is Scott. Scott, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, I just wanted to say a couple things about the game tonight. I think, first of all, it was great to be up 28-0, and I really wanted to just extend that in the second half, maybe, double it up. 56-0 would have been fantastic. That would have been gorgeous. But, there was a lot of penalties that were, I don't know. I don't know if the refs were on our side or on the, Big 12 team side. But gorgeous win tonight. It's really good to do it against Deion Sanders. It feels good. It feels really good to cement that victory, get to 2-0, and now we just move on to the next game. Time for a little top up.
Simple as that, Scott. Thanks for the call.
It is very simple. And yes, as caller Vince pointed out a little bit ago, first time since 2016, Nebraska has been 2-0, and things set up really nicely right now. Next week, you get what we would assume to be a pretty relaxing game against Northern Iowa. But, starting with Illinois, again, that 400 sellout, that could be real interesting. Oh, by the way, they were still advertising tickets for that game as part of the 4-game ticket pack. So technically, the 400 sellout is not sold out.
Interesting. Well, they'll get there. Right? They'll get there.
Well, I'm just doing my part to promote and make sure it gets there. Because how much of a bummer would it be if they just announced, fans?
It ends at $3.99.
Last week was our final sellout at Memorial Stadium. The streak is done.
We failed to sell 25 more tickets. Our apologies. Try again in another 60 years. Back to the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline. Here is Cool Dude Phil. Hi, Cool Dude Phil.
What's up? Hey, John. Hey, Connor. What's the hap on the craps, huh? Shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em. Roll 'em in a circle of bust and watch us break 'em.
Exactly.
I'll say it was a good day, right?
I was thinking exactly the same thing, Phil.
So I want to make a few points here, but the first one is, no one's really thinking about this, but we got to think Trev Alberts. No matter what you think about Trev right now,
finally
he hired Matt Rhule. He focused on Matt Rhule. Matt really didn't want to coach. He wanted to take a year off, and Trev got him in, and that's big time. So thanks, Trev.
Let's all chant it together, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trev. Thank you, Trev. Thank you.
Now, I noticed as Nebraska
Trev.
honored the 94 national championship team tonight,
Well, he was a senior in 93, so he wasn't on that team.
I was thinking
He wasn't on that team.
I was thinking, what if Trev would have been there for that? But he was not on that
No.
team. Okay, I made a horrible mistake there.
That's all right.
I embarrassed myself.
That's all right.
Back to the phones here on the J. Sinnott Contracting Hotline. Here is Z-Man in Steamboat Springs. How's the mountains, Z-Man?
Hey, man, it's beautiful fall. Nothing better than a fall day, little football, and a Husker win. I'll tell you what, guys, it's great up here in the mountains. How are y'all?
Fantastic.
Not bad. How many bummed out Colorado fans are you seeing right now? I
You
know
know,
how
I
many
was
of
at
them are.
It's crazy. There's a Husker bar in Steamboat here. It's a tiny little town, and there's a full-on Husker bar here. Everybody
believe it.
was pumped.
Oh,
It
I
was
believe
crazy.
it. I believe it.
It was a ton of fun. So great segue from the previous caller. We honored the 94 Husker team today. By the way, before I get into it, North Bottoms. I've slept next to a few floating kegs in the North Bottoms in the late 90s. So I don't know if that's how you guys' night's gonna end, but props up to North Bottoms. House parties.
Hell yeah. Indeed.
I got misty-eyed walking by my old house tonight.
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Right.
30 years ago, I watched that 94 championship team, that Orange Bowl, from the house 2 blocks down the street.
Well, thanks for letting me sleep on your floor. That was an awesome party.
Hey, you know what? We do what we can,
I'm sure you and Kugler were getting after it,
Oh, yeah, we were.
Keystone Light all night. No, dude, we honored. A great parallel. on the Trev Alberts, great segue. We honored the 94 team tonight. And like, if you guys remember those years, which you were there, we would dominate, we would win. And then the national media didn't have a lot to say about us except for that it was boring. Like we would win. Remember when they would say, oh, Nebraska just runs the option, they run the I, and it was boring. It was boring. Well, I think Matt Rhule gets that. And the second half was so boring that Shadur Sanders just left. Like he was bored. I think, you know, and I just want to like remember the 90s. We were boring and we won. And so I'm really just talking about the second half. You know, anything to say about the second half is like Matt Rhule gets it. Husker football should be up by 30 and boring. So boring that the opposing quarterback just walks off the field.
Thank you, C-Man. Appreciate the call. Is boring back?
Boring is back, folks.
Boring is back.
There's nothing. Hey, winning is not boring.
I think there is a fine line between boring, you know, like boring, winning, and then also being like too conservative, but you want to be conservative.
Right.
Like you got to find.
But don't
the
forget
right...
to run the play clock down.
Yeah, you can't forget about that part either. So you gotta find the right. But I mean, he mentioned it. Here was the other sneaky good quote from Rhule in the press conference because he mentioned it. He was fired up, but he was like, "Hey, everybody was talking about this being a close game. We didn't think it was going to be."
Right, right. This game went how we thought it would. And you know what? A lot of people around here thought it would go that way. And that's the other thing, too, is, you know, while we're going to sit back here and probably nitpick it a little bit, there were a lot of folks today who, when picking Colorado, would do so saying that, well, they've got Shadur, they've got Travis Hunter, and Nebraska doesn't know how to finish. Well, guess what? No matter how bowling shoe ugly the second half was, Nebraska still finished the game. The defense shut down Colorado. The only reason they got the points they got, for the most part, was a couple of plays. That was it. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people after this week that are going to see this and say, oh, this is a different team now. They figured out how to win.
Yeah.
And listen, that was the next step that needed to happen with this program. And yes, it's only 2 games into the season. There'll be other tests down the road. But I think we have seen so far through a couple of weeks, this team has a different makeup about it. And it's not just because number 15 is calling signals.
The story on Monday, you know, we talked about this idea in the pregame show over at Blur. Like the story, is it going to be Dylan Raiola's coming out party? He wasn't spectacular tonight. I don't know what grade you'd give him, John.
He was 23 of 30 for 185 yards. A lot of it was just throwing short, honestly.
I thought Colorado did a good job on him, and I don't know, it's like a B minus for him. I thought it was a fine game from him. He didn't turn the ball over.
But we said before the game, he didn't need to play great to win.
Exactly.
Because you had a defense you can lean on, and you got good running in the first half.
So maybe the story that people are going to come to about this team is that Nebraska's defense is legit. And you might just see a little number by their name on Monday. You might just see a little number by their name on Monday.
Is it like
in that Associated Press poll?
Is it like a little 2 in the corner, like Nebraska squared?
Well,
Nebraska
2 and then a
cube?
5 afterwards.
Okay.
Something like that.
Well, you know, Iowa lost today, so you know they're dropping out.
Got some teams to replace.
Sorry,
Back
Nick.
to the Jay Senate Contracting Hotline here on Big Red Overreaction. It's, of course, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Here is Cece. Hi, Cece. You're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, what's going on? I was just calling to let you guys know I had a couple of good takeaways from this game tonight. My first takeaway is that you guys will never beat Michigan State again, and we're just a better program than you. Go Green.
What the hell? What did Michigan State do today? They
Probably you want to talk about boring ass. I guarantee you, whatever Michigan State did today was boring ass.
I think they had a conference game, didn't they? Oh no, who?
Oh wow, this has already skipped ahead a week.
Yeah, it has.
That's weird.
Can we go back to week 2, please?
Yeah, give us week 2. Come on, ESPN. Let's see. What did Michigan State do? Michigan State. They beat Maryland 27-24. Oh, Childs did throw for 3. You know what? Nebraska's not playing Michigan State this year.
That's why they'll never beat them again.
Who cares?
CC was sounding off in the comments as well about Michigan State.
Well,
I don't know where that came from.
Congrats, CC. Stayed on hold for 15 minutes just to get that one.
Here's the thing. We need to replace we have a listener base that we have to think about. We need the numbers to be good at 1620 The Zone always, and we're going to lose about 60% of our listenership from Colorado YouTube fans.
Oh, that's right.
It's sad. I don't know what's going to happen. So maybe the Michigan State fans will come in and replace them.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Back to the phones. Here is Justin on the Jay Stenick Contracting Hotline. Hi, Justin.
Hey, yeah, so that Michigan State fan's just an idiot, just to clarify that. But I'd like to give a shout out to the Husker fans out there that have been wanting a win like this for a long time. And guys like you on the radio, you need to promote this. This is a good team. They have good staff coaching them. Let's hype these guys up. Let's not worry about what happened in the second half. We got the win. Go Big Red. Love you guys.
Okay. Bye, Justin.
You know what? That's a good stepping off point. The crowd was excellent tonight.
Really,
crowd was
really
excellent tonight, and the mass exodus that usually happens, when you're up 28 points at the end of the first half, did not happen. That student section was there the whole time. Tremendous atmosphere tonight at the stadium, and the defense, every time the defense was on the field, that place got loud. So the fans, and I'm not saying this because I'm surprised, but they were there and did an excellent job.
You could just tell. It's just, and Nebraska's got this long sellout streak, but there's some games where there's not all the seats that are taken. You could see these gaps in the rows.
Yeah.
Those games are really special. The games like that happen tonight because everybody's packed in. They're jammed in there like sardines.
Yeah.
Nobody gets an actual seat on their bench anymore, on their metal bench, because they're all standing the entire game anyway, and you don't need to. So people are spilling out into the aisles, and you can't see anything. It literally is a sea of red. I made sure I made a note of that in my head. It's been a while since I've seen it look like that and feel like that in there. And then, we always debate. One of the topics in the summer is like, what's the loudest moment or crowd pops or whatever. That pick six might be pretty high.
Ooh.
That's a good pop.
Yeah.
Because people saw that coming from a long ways away.
Yes, they did.
Because Shedeur had to throw that a long way, and then it was a 6-yard pick six for Tommy Hill. That was a really, really great, incredible atmosphere. It got Nebraska. I mean, Shedeur was yelling at his center on the first play of the game in his ear, and I don't think he heard him.
No.
I don't think anybody heard him.
We thought, because this was going to be the biggest crowd they've ever played in front of before, certainly the loudest, and that it could have an impact, and I think it did right from the jump.
Big Red Overreaction. It is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Got a nice little crowd out here for Big Red
crowd.
Overreaction.
We're waiting.
Oh, there's more people than I thought there was.
Oh, yeah. We got more. They're everywhere. They're from all ages. We got a little.
And a train!
Yes! Yes! Come on, blow the horn! Blow the horn, because he didn't do anything tonight for Colorado.
Nice.
Come on!
Nice. We'll be back after this. We'll continue to take your calls if you're on the line now. Hang on. You're coming up on Big Red Overreaction on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100, and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stenick Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stenick Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stenick Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stenick Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
You probably never knew, but there is a name behind No Name Nutrition. That name is Hurley, and the Hurley family is dedicated to bringing the best products and experience available to you and your family. At No Name Nutrition, you won't just find natural foods, vitamins, or supplements. You'll also find bulk herbs, cosmetics, and cleaning products, even essential oils, more than 15,000 items. For nearly 50 years, No Name Nutrition, with the knowledge and service you deserve. North 72nd, West Center Road, and at nonamenenutrition.com.
402-951-1620. Big Red Overreaction is live, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And No Name Nutrition. Sound off now on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
John Bishop Connor Happer back with you from the North Bottoms here in Lincoln. Nebraska 28, Colorado 10. Nebraska moves to 2-0 on the young season. A long track ahead of us. It's Big Red Overreaction. Brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Before we get to the calls, just one, maybe some fodder for the callers out there who are waiting. I have seen with my eyes, as tweeted out by Nebraska's new mascot, Will Compton.
Yeah.
In the locker room with his podcast partner, Taylor Lewan, and Dylan Raiola. John.
Sorry about that.
John is, once again,
I'm trying
computer
to
makes
save
noises.
I'm trying to save it so I can show the folks on the video.
Dylan Raiola is in the picture. And what you'll notice about what Dylan Raiola is doing is that he is holding up his wrist as to show his watch in an interesting manner, kind of like this. If you're watching along with this on YouTube.
Well, here you go.
Get it up there, John.
Here's the actual picture. But yes, in the locker room with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. There it is. You know, you can do that now because you're not going to see these guys. Well, first of all, he's not going to play Shedeur anymore.
And Shedeur left in the fourth quarter.
And Shedeur left in the fourth quarter. Well, maybe that's what he was doing. He's saying, hey, you dropped your watch on the way out. I just wanted to.
That's good luck. I like that. Good move by Dylan Raiola. And, of course, Nebraska's new mascot.
Is this going to be the thing now? Is that
he's going to do pump-up speeches
He's going to do the pump-up speech every game?
I guess so. We have our first return caller here. Mike S. is back. I must have cut him off and he got angry on the Jay Cynic contracting hotline. Sorry, Mike. What's up? Yeah, Mike, turn your radio down. Mike, turn your radio up a lot.
Sorry, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, all right. What's going on?
Can we? How has no one made fun of Nick Grimm right now for losing to Iowa State after this big talk about? Oh, Iowa's not even worried about it. Like, what a loser.
Listen. Nick has been working very hard. He was working very late last night, and he's been doing all of this legwork to get these shows on the air. So, we're not going to.
Well, congrats, Nick. Maybe the Dolphins will score more than 20 points tomorrow.
Maybe.
Hey, 20 points. I mean, first of all, who was it for Iowa? Rush for 200 yards today.
Caleb Brown.
Is this like the first time Iowa has lost rushing for that many?
I would think so.
Because first of all, they probably haven't had a 200-yard running back in 20 years. But they don't lose when they rush for that many yards. That was weird.
Well, Nick thinks that Cade McNamara is the same as Tua, so he is not going to know what's going on tomorrow when he's actually throwing passes complete.
Mike is just trying to be Nick's proxy and give him takes. I think.
Yeah. Poor Nick here.
I don't know what's going on. Is that all you got, Mike?
Poor Nick. Jeez. No, that all I got to say is I'm glad the positivity since the last time I called. And go Big Red, and Creighton sucks.
Oh, okay. There is one guy, and thanks, Mike.
She's just touching everyone.
There is one guy on the text line right now, texting in from the 402. He's done so 5 times in the last 20 minutes.
And
did Creighton win today? Spelled Creighton incorrectly. 5 texts in the last 19 minutes.
Yeah, they did. They won in volleyball today. They're still undefeated.
See?
And next Tuesday they're coming in here and they're probably going to, beat Nebraska.
Ooh. John calling his shot. Brandon writes in the response to the tweet from Will Compton, Chasing 3 is going to be delicious this week, he said. I have a feeling that Chasing 3 will indeed be delicious this week.
Yeah, those folks in the video department are going to have a lot of editing.
There's going to be some dunking, I think, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Back to the Jason at Contracting Hotline. Here is Tony. Tony, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, thanks for the show, fellas. I love it.
You got it.
So I was at UNL from 93 to 97. And 2 weeks ago, I dropped off my son at Schramm Hall so he could experience the Huskers. And so far in the last week, he's been on Chasing 3, which you just referenced, and he was also on the NBC telecast. So I think that's well worth $80,000 in tuition. Don't you think?
Pretty good, Tony. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 2 media appearances, so that's $40,000 per media appearance. But quick broadcast note. How bad was Colt McCoy as color analyst? He didn't even know where the first down was. He's like, the first down, is that the 30? I'm like, dude, you should know. You're on the call. So kind of disrupted some of the joy of the second half. But all in all, great time. I haven't seen this much swagger in the team since probably Ndamukong Suh with that Texas game, and that was a loss. So just excited. And, I moved my family to Iowa, and Iowa lost today, and Nebraska won. This is a good day.
Awesome, Tony. Thanks for the call, and good luck with those media appearances from your kid. We're looking at Schramm Hall right now.
Right over there.
Harper, Schramm in the background, and then Smith right across the railroad tracks. We did not get to listen to much of Colt McCoy, but we did get to hear a little of Colt McCoy.
Yeah, as we were walking over, we got a little tiny bit, and literally the first thing we heard from him was a groaner. It's ooh.
Yeah, I didn't. I did see the conversation regarding Colt McCoy
there was conversation
on X this evening. But
and by the way, I mean, the reason why he was on the call, I mean, NBC was spread pretty thin. They had the other college games they did. They had Notre Dame, they had the Brazil game and the Thursday night game. So they were, they need to work on their bullpen. And they work on their analyst bullpen.
Yeah, a lot like the Royals. Well, the Royals are a little bit better now.
Yeah.
But they need to work on their bullpen. I think that's probably a good way to put it. Back to the Jason at Contracting Hotline here on Big Red Overreaction. Here's Sam. Hey, Sam, what's going on? You're on the show.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
What's up?
So I'll be really quick. I'm just really proud of this team right now. I'm glad that this game was a little boring at times. Overall, I just think that that's really important. How many games have we been on pins and needles when it comes to these kind of games? And it was just an absolutely non-factor. I'm just really proud of that. And also, Dowdell, he's a beast. Sorry, Shiloh's arm. Hope him the best, obviously. But I'm just really happy. I'm just happy we got this win. This is big. Let's keep it going. Fix up those penalties. Like I know Matt Rhule will do. Go Big Red.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Sorry, Shiloh's arm.
That was I can't wait. I was looking for video at halftime and I didn't see it, but I can't wait to see that because I remember him trucking him.
Nothing gets me more excited than a big back when he's got a hole, and he would have scored he was going to run right through Shiloh.
Yes.
But then decided to just run directly at him. Like he welcomed the contact.
Yes.
He went directly at his face. And Nebraska was going to score on that possession anyway.
Right.
And Shiloh put his body on the line and ultimately ended up getting hurt doing it. But that was a pretty energizing play, I think, for the crowd, which is already, pretty unhinged going into that one.
And not, again, we don't want to see anyone get hurt, but there were 21 penalties tonight. Can you imagine if he'd have played the whole game? There would have been at least 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, he did have a couple uncalled ones last week.
Yes, he did.
Against North Dakota State. Back to the phones. Here is Patrick on the Jason at Contracting Hotline. Hi, Patrick. You're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I thought the defense was extremely physical tonight, which was great to see. Matt Rhule kind of preaches this, very violent defense and having tough players. And, feel really bad for Shiloh's arm. I heard it was pretty mutilated. He's going to need about 3 or 4 plates. And then we took it out on his other son, unfortunately, Shannon Sanders. We knocked him out of the game as well. He left with, 2 minutes left in the game. So I'm sure Deion's feeling kind of sorry for his 2 sons. So shout out to the Sanders family. We feel bad for you, and hopefully Shiloh's arm heals up quickly.
Another call for Shiloh's arm. Thank you, Patrick.
Appreciate
somehow
it.
That's going to be a meme this week.
So, I guess we could talk about Shedeur leaving. Did they think that Nebraska was going to storm the field or something, and they felt like they had to get him out of there? I can't. It doesn't make much sense to me.
I don't know, but it was probably because the game was done. Why continue to subject him to the punishment out there? Because it's a long season. There's 10 games left.
Also, was he hurt? Did he come off because he was hurt?
Well, he did come off.
Had the hit to the head.
Yeah, he had the hit to the head, and I think that's when he left the game and did not come back. Right? Did he come back after that? Because that's when we were walking over here.
No, because and
that's probably why
they were kind of laid down before that, even a little bit. So they figured, okay, let's get him out of the game, but. I don't necessarily see the reason to get him off the sideline, but that's the way that they approached it. He was the one who left.
Well, and keep in mind, it's, he tends to talk a little bit, and I suppose they just wanted to get him out of there. And
hey, you mentioned we should drive that home. The kind of scene as the teams were entering the field to come out for the game. Nebraska comes out now of the northeast tunnel, and they run all the way across the field to their sideline, and a whole bunch of players end up going down to the goal line, to the south end zone to pray and kneel, which just so happens to be right where Colorado came out.
Correct.
And so you could see this kind of brewing where it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And so a bunch of people line up and to kind of diffuse the situation. But Tommy Hill stayed in there.
Yeah.
And there were definitely some words, some chirps before the game even started. Nothing came of it. But
there was no fisticuffs or anything, but there was definitely a lot of jawing tonight.
Nebraska was clearly, they were game for that fight.
Yes, they were.
The confidence is it's something that we talked about on last week's Big Red Overreaction that you just pick up on immediately. But this group does not approach things like they're a beaten program that does nothing but lose 1-score games. It doesn't. Yeah. They and Rhule said it in the press conference. He was like, well, sometimes you have to do those things. You have to take those hard times to kind of wash yourselves and start anew. And it does feel like Nebraska's in that place. We still don't have the answer to the question if they can win a close game.
Yeah.
Will they make plays in a close game? But they handled all of the extra stuff tonight like a team that would be able to make those plays.
Well, and that's why I mentioned at the outset of the show, with all the emotion that was going on and some of that extracurricular stuff right before the game, it's very easy to kind of lose yourself. And Nebraska never did that on offense or on defense. And usually on defense, that's the emotional side of football where you're playing with your hair on fire and all that other stuff.
There go the Buffs.
And there go the Buffs. Everyone,
see ya.
Wave goodbye. There go the Buffs on the bus.
Sleepy time.
1 bus, 2 bus, 3 bus. And remember, they came from Omaha.
And they're getting that police escort.
So they get to drive
go home
all
right now
the way back to Omaha.
Yeah. Yep.
And by the way, that traffic on the interstate's not always the best.
No, especially won't be with a motorcade coming through.
Yeah.
So that probably won't help things on I-80 East if you're out there. Back to the phones. It's on Big Red Overreaction here on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Connor Happer, John Bishop with you live from the North Bottoms here in Lincoln. Let's go back to the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. Here's Brandon Cool. Hi, Brandon Cool.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Brandon?
Oh, nothing. All I want to say is Tony White, all right.
Tony White, all right. All right.
Yep.
All right.
And then Dante Dowdell, dude, He's a baller. He needs the ball a lot more.
Yeah, and Brandon, is that all you got, Brandon?
No, I got my woman here, Mad Dog here. She wants to say hi.
Okay, hi everybody. Enjoy your evening. Okay, thank you, Brandon.
He calls his woman Mad Dog?
I don't know. I don't want to judge.
Another train.
It's another train.
Come on, blow the horn.
That gives John another.
Yes! 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 Ask and ye shall receive.
Great job, John.
That's 4. That's 4, right? 4? Is that 4?
4 trains. Dante Dowdell. Let's talk about him. 17 carries for 74 yards. I thought Nebraska got a little screen happy, It just
they did. It was
like
a lot of short passes tonight, but a lot of that too, Connor, was I think if Nebraska's receivers and maybe we needed to give Colorado's defensive backs a little more credit. It wasn't just Travis Hunter, but I thought they locked down Nebraska's receivers fairly well. I mean, when you look at let me take a look at the receiving. I mean, Johnson had 8 of the 23 catches. Barney had 6. And a lot of those were on short patterns. Naor had 4. Banks had 2 for 2 yards.
Yeah. And Lloyd had the 1 catch where he had to come back and catch it near the goal line.
Yeah, there was really nothing downfield to be had. And I think a lot of that goes to the athleticism that CU has. So, yeah, that's going to be something worth watching moving forward because, Ohio State's got that same kind of talent.
Yeah, and so
if not better.
I don't know. I'm not sure what Nebraska kind of how they thought they were going to kind of attack that, but it did feel like their running game was going pretty well when they were running it hard and physical early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got that 7-point lead and then a 14-point lead. And I just feel like they probably could have kept it on the ground and just, ran it at them all night until they quit. But I don't think they did that, and they kind of spread it out a little bit more. I mean, who are we? They were 28-0 at the end of the first half. We're talking about stuff that happened in the first half, but they weren't able to do it much in the second half when they really wanted to, chew the clock and run the game out. So I don't know if that's a concern as much as, it's an edge thing. It's an intensity thing.
Right.
But yeah, Dowdell, I mean, back to the caller, Dowdell's the number 1 running back. That's it. We figured it out.
I think 2
games. That's it.
I think so. And I mean, it seems like, and based on the rotation that there was for much of the game, it seems like it's Dowdell and Ramir. Those are the 2 main guys right now.
Yeah, those are the 2 that got the main carries tonight. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break here on Big Red Overreaction. We still have a bunch of callers lined up. Boyd, Tim, Oak Tree, and Taylor. Oak Tree is calling. So we'll make sure to get to that one on the other side.
Tie a yellow ribbon.
Big Red Overreaction presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Connor Happer, John Bishop with you live from the North Bottoms here in Lincoln. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've ever wanted to have your cake and eat it too, there's good news. You can have that every day at Equitable Bank. You get state-of-the-art mobile banking as well as online banking. And if you ever forget your password, don't worry. You can give us a call at 402-827-8100 and we'll answer it on the first ring to help. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Big Red Overreaction continues in 1 minute on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
At Dingman's, we understand that when you bring your vehicle to us, you're entrusting us with your safety and peace of mind. As part of this community, we're here to look after you and your family, just like we would our own. Our skilled technicians ensure every detail is handled with care, and our personal touch sets us apart. As your neighbors and fellow community members, we take pride in caring for the vehicles that keep our community moving. Locally owned and locally trusted. At Dingman's, we would rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Visit dingmans.com.
Big Red Overreaction is live, featuring the most important voice of all, yours. Sound off now, 402-951-1620. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And No Name Nutrition on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Welcome back. Big Red Overreaction presented by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally, and brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair and No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. We'll still have another scoreboard update for you in this segment, but this show is about you, the voice,
the people,
and they're on the Jay Stennett Contracting Hotline. We head back there right now. That's where we find Boyd. Hi, Boyd. You're on the show.
First off, guys, luck in Crime Town.
Thank you.
Second, I mean, are the black shirts back? Is this a real thing?
Yeah,
The
hey,
black
that's
shirts?
a good defense. Boyd.
Honestly, they were back last season. Second half of last season.
Second half of last season, they look real good. Tonight, oh man, shut them down.
Yeah.
Third, I mean, I can't say no to a 10-2, 9-3 season.
Who would?
Boyd?
It's on the table. It is definitely on the table. Though I would say this, Illinois looks tougher. Indiana looks tougher. So that's a couple of other ones. Rutgers is about what we thought they would be.
Hey, Boyd, do you got anything else for us? All right, I think he dropped off. Okay, so let's stick on that point for a second. Colorado against Illinois, Indiana. I'm not talking about like if they played each other.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is what we do. We try to figure out who the team is in the first couple games of the year. Colorado is probably, when you add it all up, as good, if not better, than those teams. I don't know if they'd win the game, but man, it's going to be tough to find. I don't know how many games Colorado is going to win this year, but they have two dudes.
Well, without a running game, I just don't see. I mean, I think you're staring down the barrel of another 4-8.
Yeah, but
they got a tough finishing Big 12 schedule.
But they're
this year.
always going to be dangerous because of what those type of players. You're just not going to run into any of those guys in the conference.
Yeah,
and so if Nebraska can match up from a top to bottom physical perspective, like Rhule said tonight, our defense is our star, our whole team is our star, right? And Nebraska feels like they can match up physically, 1-22 with all those guys in the league, especially Indiana and Illinois. Then they can, Banks and Nair, who I thought were those home run hitters last week for Nebraska, they probably get closer to being home run hitters again. Those guys were almost non-factors.
They were non-factors
right?
tonight.
So, I mean, I don't know. You do the math equation, and it's sort of hard to tell. But I wouldn't discount Colorado for beating somebody this year.
Oh, anytime you've got talent like that and a quarterback like that, it's certainly possible. And I do think Colorado's defense is better than it was last year. It just depends on what.
I was impressed. Nebraska was
They
trying.
hit hard.
Yeah.
They hit hard.
Yeah, they were. Nebraska was trying to run the ball, and they couldn't get anything done in the second half.
Right. So it's not a terrible team Nebraska beat. Honestly, I mean they could still end up in a bowl game, but yeah, this is Indiana put up a school record in points tonight, 77 points, or yesterday. Illinois went. A lot of people thought Kansas was going to go into Champaign and win that game. Illinois comes back and wins. Nebraska's got to run the ball better at some point. And there's going to be moments where Dylan's going to have to probably throw more deep shots down the field. But again, this is all kind of nitpicking.
MTD on YouTube says USC. It was another one.
USC. Yeah. I honestly, USC could be real dangerous.
So, I mean, things change as you go up throughout the season. That's for sure. Back to the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. Here's Tim. Tim, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Tim.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I was sitting in lot 20. Just basically got out of there right now. I was hoping to get an escort all the way back to Omaha, but that obviously wasn't going to happen.
Did you follow the buses,
man,
Tim?
Dude, my car wouldn't even move for about 20 minutes. I literally just got out of the parking lot, so thank God I just made it out.
Tough.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to touch on I don't know if anybody talked, but this is huge for us from a recruiting standpoint with all the big time, Michael Terry being back for this game. And, I don't know if we're still going to swing it and be able to get him, to come back and possibly give Nebraska another look, but it would be hard not for him to take a good look at what it is that we did tonight.
I don't know how, and Tim, thanks for the call. If you're a recruit, and Nebraska had many this week, they had two prominent recruits who are committed to other schools who just decided, I think I'd like to go to this game. And I think Nebraska's okay with that kind of disposition. But how are you going to come in here and you were at one point considering Nebraska and not be swept away by what you saw tonight?
You got a great atmosphere. Yeah. You watched, a defense play with its hair on fire. You saw that long pass down the field from Dylan. I mean, it was, I hate to do this, but it was very Mahomes-like. Very Mahomes-like. I mean, he's scrambling around, throwing against his body across the field, down.
He does the little finger thing with the plays too.
He does.
He kind of waddles like him. He does all the. By the way, Patrick Mahomes was not here. Smoke screen. He was in Kansas City at the KC Current game, the women's soccer team.
Wow. So all the rumors. I apologize to the guy that we ran into, and I said, too. The rumor was because Little Bird had told us that they were on his way, but he didn't show up.
I thought it was happening.
Oh,
well. Back to the J. Senate Contracting Hotline. Here is Oak Tree. Hi, Oak Tree.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good.
Very good, Oak Tree.
So I grew up in Belmont, not far from where you're at. So I spent most of my early years from 1980 to 1993 going to games, slinging sodas, whichever was the flavor of the week. So I appreciate where you guys are at. But in 2007, I took a job in Eastern Iowa, and I live about 30 minutes from Kinnick Stadium. And I have to deal with these jabronis over here every year. And it only got worse after we moved to the Big Ten. But I'm telling you what, today was a glorious day. And yes, we have things to improve on. But you know what? A W is a W.
Oak Tree, exactly. And we're happy to be doing the show from Crime Town tonight.
Absolutely.
We're happy to be doing the show from Crime Town.
I feel very safe.
I do too.
I mean, we're surrounded on two sides by chain link fence.
Yeah, and the train.
And the train, the occasional train.
This
is a fine neighborhood.
To his point about being in enemy territory, to the point of Oak Tree, the caller,
Oak Tree,
about being in enemy territory. Remember when Bill Moose said, I think Urban Meyer's running a little scared right now.
Yeah.
That was weird. He shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, well, he might have been on something at that point.
Now, the point is, I don't think that Nebraska should be saying this, and they certainly wouldn't, but I don't know how you couldn't look at Nebraska right now if you were another team that's been beating up Nebraska incessantly for the last 10 years and looking at it like, whoa, we knew that they had a pretty good defense. We knew that they had talent. And then last year they got a good defense. And now they have, at the very least, a competent offense and potentially a very good offense with a quarterback who could be potentially excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you don't look at that and don't say, like, oh, is that a contender? Look at Michigan. They had this run over the last couple of years, and now, they played a really, really good Texas team today. They didn't look good in week 1. That looks like a 8-4 type of team.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to come from that middle of the pack and be in the upper part of this conference.
And it could very well be the team that plays right over here.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have the tools for it.
They certainly do. And if the schedule continues to set up as it is, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then, again, tonight was not a night where you needed to put a lot on Dylan's shoulders. And we thought that was certainly possible. And so for you to go in here, score 28 in the first half and win comfortably without even scoring in the second half, without your star quarterback having to make any huge plays, especially in the second half, there's a lot of room to grow. Remember, as much as we talk him up, he is still a freshman. Next week will be his third game.
Yeah.
His third game.
Back to the Jay Sinek Contracting Hotline. Here's Taylor. Taylor, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, fellas. I wouldn't mind a soda from Oak Tree.
Me neither. Sounds great.
Yeah, it does. It sounds fantastic.
But what I want to know is, after watching Nebraska play these first 2 games, have your guys' season predictions changed? Or are they still the same?
Taylor, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I was an 8-4 guy.
Yeah, ditto.
No, it hasn't.
Not yet.
It hasn't. No.
Not yet. I mean, you need to do at least a little bit more. Now, certainly the math is there if they go 7-0. But
I think I mathed them to lose 1 of their first 7 games.
I did.
Okay.
I had at least 1, if not a couple.
Yeah, I think I had
in that bunch. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'm gonna at least reserve judgment until after the end of this month. If I was going, not that I'm going to stick with what I had. I picked 8-4. It's 8-4. But in terms of what I would expect, they get through this month unscathed, then yeah, we'll certainly review it.
Yeah,
again,
it does change as it goes along, and that's with all of the other teams who are doing different things as well. I want to get to an email here from Caleb. Who says, this was the loudest game I've ever been to. Great game, but someone stole my friend's jacket after putting it on the bench at the end of the game. So our happiness, unfortunately, went from 10 out of 10 to only 8 out of 10. Sad. But
won a game, lost a jacket.
Loudest game that Caleb has ever been to.
It's sometimes hard to tell because when we're sitting in the press box like that, but like I said, every defensive series while we were there, it was loud.
I went down to the field at the end of the first quarter, and
how was that?
Yeah, it was pretty special. It was pretty special, and by this time, end of the first quarter, I believe Nebraska was already up. Well, whenever they missed 5 trains,
5.
Whenever Nebraska missed the field goal, because I was standing right next to it when they missed the field goal. I think they were up 21-0 already, so the air had kind of been sucked out of it already.
Right.
And it was pretty electric. It was electric. By the way, on that trip, I was watching the Colorado sideline. Keep in mind, this is the first quarter of the football game. Let's just say, and Dion has talked about this before, how those guys challenge each other and they yell at each other and it might look like it's not completely healthy. I can tell you that what was going on in that sideline was not healthy. Not healthy at all. Not how I'd want my football team to react to that situation.
Well, and Sanders has talked about this several times, how, he doesn't believe in the whole chemistry thing. You don't need chemistry. You just need good players. And so he wants to run this a lot like some of the teams he was on back in the 90s. And certainly it worked. You can't argue with the results. But these are 18 to 22-year-olds. And, you're going to run into a spot where, there's sometimes where favoritism might be at play, or, hey, why is this guy getting this and I'm not getting that? And that's why That's why I have concerns about the long-term viability of what he's trying to do at Colorado. There's no question he's brought more attention to them. He's brought more allure to them. He's, people are more excited there about him, which is fine. But in terms of this being long-term and sustainable, especially when his kids are gone.
Yeah.
And
they also leave tonight's game physically beat up. So we'll see what happens to them in the coming weeks. It'll certainly be another thing to watch. John, before we get to the rest of our calls here on the show, let's do a scoreboard presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts.
Boise has tied Oregon early in the fourth quarter, 27-27. Boise was a near 3-touchdown underdog in that game. SC is winning at halftime over Utah State, 27-0. Arizona is up 22-10 over Northern Arizona. That's with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Those are the only games in the top 25 that are underway at almost midnight.
Late night in the Big Ten. 2 Big Ten games going on right now. And
Big
a Big
12.
12.
Big Ten after the dark.
That is our scoreboard
with
update.
all the former Pac-12 schools.
Amazing. Presented by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Back to the phones. Just got a few more minutes here on Big Red Overreaction. Let's go to Jim in Dallas. Hi, Jim. You're on the show. Jim, you with us?
Hey, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, today was kind of historical. It's kind of fun because you got to celebrate the 1994 team, but what's better than having Warren Sapp on Colorado's sideline? But then also Colt McCoy, we got to be nice to him. I mean, what a brave soul. I mean, I think he has to look at McDominican Sue's name on the side of the stadium. He still urinates his pants thinking about that Big 12 championship. So let's be kind to him. But guys, thanks for what you do. Love you guys.
Appreciate you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
And now Colt did get the last laugh, and they won. People forget
they
that.
Did win.
They won that game, 12-10. It was sad for
13-12, right?
12-10. No, 13-12.
13-12.
It was 12-10
It was
before
12-10
the
before the
field goal. 13.
It should have been 12-10.
13-12. So yeah, he got the last laugh. We like to be nice to broadcasters because we're broadcasters.
Right. It was his first game.
We're in the
It's a tough spot to be. I mean, think about
We're
it.
the
In prime
broadcasting
time, there was probably. I bet the audience will be at least 6 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For this one, because it was going to be the most watched game at night, and Colorado always brings a big audience. And by the way, this will be as long as it's over 5. This will be the first time Nebraska's won a game where they've had at least 5 million viewers in over a decade.
Wow.
Their top 9 most watched games since 2013, all north of 5 million. They lost all of them.
They were probably mostly Ohio State games.
Mostly Ohio State, Tennessee,
last year, Colorado.
USC, last year Colorado, and the Iowa game in 15.
Jeez.
Lost them all.
Yeah, that's part of the adjustment that I guess we all have here watching Nebraska football play now. Back to the phones on the J. Stinnett Contracting Hotline. Oh, look who it is. It's Old Man Doug. Hi, Doug. Good evening.
Gentlemen.
Doug.
I just got my voice back.
Oh, congratulations. Regenerated it quickly.
Yeah. Steroids.
Wasn't it nice to see Nebraska win playing boring and didn't give them the game? And that's really why they won. I mean, they didn't score any points in the second half, but they didn't give them anything.
Right.
And, at the end of the day, we beat Colorado. Coach Prime will not be there at the end of the year for next year. And sales guy Josh is just going to have to, eat some major crow.
Hey, to his credit,
he was brave enough to show his face at the tailgate.
He did. He showed up here and just said hi. He's taking his licks like a man.
But hey, go Huskers! It was just nice to see them win a game they should have won and not give it away. So,
yeah,
that's
you,
my
Doug.
take.
Appreciate the call, Doug. That's kind of the theme of the night, John.
Yeah,
people are enjoying the boring now.
Yes,
They're
they
like,
are.
this is great. I'm so bored. This is amazing. That's what they're all saying to us.
By the way, Boise has just scored again, so they've taken the lead.
Wow.
That was a game. That was an interesting game because neither of those teams played particularly well last week. There's going to be some real concerns about Oregon. I mean, Oregon is they've got some issues.
So right now, not much going on for Oregon offensively. Can't run the ball.
Yikes.
Man.
Can't run the ball in the Big Ten. Yeah, now I'm going to kick myself. I'm going to kick myself because I thought, man, making that transition up to a different league. We saw what happened in Nebraska in 2011. It's happening to Oregon.
29 carries for 86 yards right now for the Ducks. 13 yards have been taken off on Dylan Gabriel's sacks, it appears, or at least he's lost 13 yards in rushing. So, I mean, we're basically looking at, just a little over 3 yards a carry at this point against
Yikes.
Boise State. Not going to do the job. And
oh, by the way, if Boise holds on and wins that game, guess who's team number one among the group of five right now? Because this was a game that a lot of folks thought they could afford to lose because of that game being on the schedule. You got the Liberties out there who aren't playing anybody.
Yeah.
And so you were thinking, okay, as long as they acquit themselves and look good and Boise, cleans the slate the rest of the way, they win the game tonight. All those folks who picked Boise for the playoff are going to feel pretty good.
Yep, they jump right up to that top group of five spot. Back to the Jay Sennett Contracting Hotline. Just got a few more minutes here on Big Red Overreaction. Here is Scott. Scott, you're on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, gentlemen. Love to be here. John, Chicago transplant. Go Cubs, go. Love to see it.
Yeah, let's score a run tomorrow. Let's just score a run, please.
I would love to see it. From Omaha, go CP. Fuck. Oh, excuse my language. God, I got.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Hopefully we got that one out of there.
Yeah. It's after midnight.
I'm surprised Nick didn't jump through the headset.
Joey's
got it.
Those of you in the stream, though, we apologize for the foul.
Yeah, see, it's an automatic. If you say a bad word, you're getting kicked off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just the rules. It's just the rules. So now we're down to two. And I know who our last caller is going to be. This very famous podcaster. But let's go to Zach here on the Jay Sennett Contracting Hotline. Zach, how we doing tonight?
Oh, good.
Good.
So what about this mythical Sunday practice last year after Michigan? Before then, the defense was okay, not great. And then all of a sudden that Sunday practice happens and then they just light on. And now it's just been continuing through last year and then this year. It could have been better, a little bit better last year, but now this year is just wham. Are we not talking too much enough about that Sunday practice, or is that just?
It'll reach mythical proportions if this turnaround continues to trend in the right direction. Because when the story is written, it'll be. There's no question that was a moment. Now, again, they didn't make a bowl game last year, but for them to have bounced back and at least put themselves in position, absolutely. That practice certainly, and you'll hear a lot of the guys after they're gone probably talk about that practice and how important it was.
Yeah. A bowl game was more offense last year, though. So
sure.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Zach. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Do we not talk enough about the mythical Sunday practice? I don't know. I feel like we talk about the mythical Sunday practice all the time.
Right. But I'm saying when the story is written down the road, I'm sure that will have some mythical quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe there's an oral history of it one day. You go back. What do you remember about that day? Yeah. I mean, it's certainly the Nebraska's season last year changed. I don't know if that'll be looked at yes, that was a good moment, and it won Nebraska some games last year. The turning point was getting Dylan Raiola.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for Matt Rhule's got the thing off the ground, how did he do that?
That'll be the story people want to talk about more than the practice.
Yeah, it's about
those few days when all of a sudden it was like, hey, I've decided I want to revisit Nebraska again.
Something that happened in December. By the way, it appears as if Oregon has potentially returned a kick now. We're at 34-34.
Dang, we're missing a heck of a game.
Yeah, we are. Maybe we'll be able to get in the car for the last few minutes of it. Here is our final caller on Big Red Overreaction tonight. It's podcaster Jed. Jed.
Oh, podcaster Jed. Speaking of potty mouths.
Hi, Jed.
I mean, of all the people that I thought was going to cuss on this show, I thought it would be me. But certainly not. I got to beat me to it. Like,
well, hey, give it 30 seconds, Jed. We got to let the delay build back up.
Uh-oh, did we lose
him? Oh, no.
Jed, you there?
He said he was driving back on the interstate. Maybe Prime's phone. I bet Prime's phone is blocking him. Are you close to the bus, Jed? Has Prime's bus passed you yet?
I'm approaching Waverly, so I'm working on getting to the bus. But realistically, I literally just have one thing to say, considering all the circumstances that we all know about.
Thank you, Jed. Thanks for the call.
Oh, my God.
I thought something horrible happened to him.
It might have. It might have. There might be a wreck at the 405 on the interstate. It might be a guy dressed in a red and white striped suit with a big bolo hat.
I didn't. All right, that was good.
That's a great way to end. We've never had a live accident here on the show.
What a day that we've had today, John. You and I.
Yes, we have. It's been a great day, and we want to thank Nick.
Yes, Nick.
Nick did an awesome job.
We're going to keep making fun of you, but you did good today.
Yep.
Thank you.
Did some awesome work. And oh, by the way, we will be back here in 2 weeks because 400 sellout pregame show. Josh and I will have Unsportsmanlike Conduct live from the stadium at the Blur parties from 2 to 6. And then we're going to come right back over here to 14th in New Hampshire and do the pregame or do the postgame show.
Oh,
so
amazing.
it'll be just like it
for the maybe 400th consecutive sellout.
Maybe they haven't sold all the tickets yet,
or the first consecutive sellout. Who knows? It could be either one. This has been Big Red Overreaction. It's been a heck of a day and a heck of an evening. It is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. And by No Name Nutrition, live a better, healthier, and more natural life. We'd also like to thank Jay Stennett Contracting for the hotline tonight, and our friends at Peerless Energy Systems for our scoreboard updates. Thank you so much to Joey Colbert back in studio.
Thanks, Joey.
You can go out and wear your shirt and show everybody now. We appreciate your hard work, Joey, as always, and to all the folks here in the North Bottoms and, of course, at the Blur Tailgate. It's been a very, very fun day. Nebraska wins at 28-10. Plenty to talk about next week. And in less than 8 hours, when Michael Severe grabs a 1620 to the zone microphone, we'll talk to you then. For now, it's John Bishop, Connor Happer sending you good night, everybody, as Nebraska wins it tonight.
You probably